is it the exact reposition where it should be constructed. And again, we have what we call the engineering surveys, where we check about the soil, the types of soil they are maybe going to construct. You find that these developers, they incur a lot of expenses when they go maybe to a type of soil called, is it loam soil or clay soil, cotton soil. You find that they are trying to dip harder and deeper so they can be able to have their foundation. We try to tell them this is not the best place to purchase a plot. Let us go somewhere else, maybe so that we may be able not to take much of their finances. Yeah. I think we are lucky because I think we have what we call the amendment, the Act of the Section of Property Act of 2020 that came into force, and Section 21 of 2021 that gave a leeway for every unit to have a title deed. Now we are giving them title deed, and there are some procedures, maybe steps to be followed. We have to look at the general title deed, which we used to call mother title deed, and then we go for the approvals. The surveyor will come and try to do some plans, and then take them to the local authority for approvals until we go now for registration of title deeds, and we give them. Now, you know, they used to have what you call the leases of from 21 years to 99 years. And now we have this kind of title deeds to be registered individually. And I think we have got a very breakthrough nowadays. And people are happy because they have their title deed now. Mm.
Just tell us what are some of the details that one can actually look out for to verify that that is a genuine title deed for that specific house?
First and foremost, we have to check the search of that title deed. Because most of these people, developers, Kenyajik and bear me witness, they don't have their finances at hand. They normally go and get some loans. So the first thing they should do before even purchase, can you go and check whether they have a loan? If they have a loan, then you can be able now to go to a lawyer and agree when the loan will be discharged. And again, genuine title deeds are there because you have to enter into in the registry that the title was really been registered in, and try maybe to check from the land registry or registrar.
Right. I'm not sure I can give my colleagues a chance to ask.
Yes, on that issue of off-plan, I wanted maybe Mr. Kenyandui to tell us, why is it that most of these companies, they end up frauding people? Is it that you guys make a lot of money at the advanced stage to a point that you'll fail to develop it to deliver to people at the end? And my second question is, of late we have seen various trends that the government is really demolishing houses. Maybe statistically as an association, how has that affected you? Are people really buying houses, or they have shied away?
Thank you very much. I think, yes, people are still buying. I think the need of housing is transferred from one generation to another, irrespective of age factor. I think there's that need. Like they always say, one is never enough. You've had people with multiple homes. And I don't think that is a culture that we are willing to lose at any given point. Secondly, yes, there have been those issues. And I always say building is not an emotional process. Building is a little bit scientific. It has its own way of doing things. Like I said previously, building starts from planning. You know, you have to plan what it is that you want to put into construction at that particular point. Secondly, there's the budgeting part of it. At the budgeting part is where most people go wrong. And I will say this authoritatively because previously we've had stories whereby people build and they say, for instance, you're given something we call an emotional BQ. Emotional BQ is just assessing a building and say, maybe this will cost you 2 million. This will cost you 3 million. But most people, I think they don't know, there are quantity surveyors that gives you exact budgets of the cost of construction at the planning level. So if you go long on the budgeting point of it, even on actualization of that, now things become a little bit difficult. Because one, if you're given an emotional BQ, there is no possibility you will go to the end. Because people vary depending on the things they can account for and things that they cannot account for. Secondary is on the coordination part of it. Coordinating a construction site is full of so many bureaucracy. You have to have the right professionals for the right job. You know, like the surveyor said, you know, construction also involves a bit of surveying. Like for instance, before you construct, you have to have land. So if you have land, you have to register, to transfer that title deed into the developer company that is put into this perspective of construction. At the same time, now putting the whole planning and the budgeting in it, the coordination factor of it, the supply of material, the allocation of labor, you know, and also the construction cycle. You have to have a method of how you conduct your own business. So having a method of how you conduct your own business now gives you a privilege of onboarding the right people for that particular job. Now the last one is on the supervision part of it. You will not give people money to go and do your project when you're just away. That is why you'll hear stories whereby I will never build when I'm out of the vicinity of a project that I'm building, because there's so many loopholes during the construction cycle. So if you give people room to manipulate you along the way, trust you me, you'll end up spending much more than you had anticipated to, or even the BQ had been coordinated in a way whereby you're told this is the amount of money that you'll spend for this particular project. So if you get it right from the point go, then that is the row until the completion of that particular houses. Yes, it is doable, but it's more doable when it is done right from the onset to the end.
Maybe the final one for me, there are concerns that in this off-plan whatever, that most of you guys construct using substandard materials. And that's why you find people say that despite maybe even being told that the house is around 3 million, you'll be forced to add more money after a period of time because maybe the taps you have used, the cement.
I think long gone are the days whereby people would compromise things at an expense of maybe a client that do not understand things. We are living in a world whereby people have become a little bit modest. So someone giving you the job already know what they want for the job, already know the cycle of the job, and they are willing to be there to oversee whatever it is that has been done. As Wilston Homes, we have focused on the quality housing. You know why? Because there before, people have not been given value for their money. And every time, you know, our job is more on the referral basis. Such that if Alvin today buys a home from Wilston Homes, and in that particular home, you already know it's a 3-bedroom bungalow seated on a 50 by 100, for instance. Alvin already know the cycle of construction. The only thing that he need to offload the mandates, that he's the one to go and purchase this and that. He's the one to allocate labor here and there. But on that delegation of power over the resources that they have already paid the company, now they have the mandate to come and supervise whether they have been given value for their money. So they doesn't give off-plan again, now gives you the benefit of you're on check from day one of construction to the last day of the construction. So you're able to now supervise overall to make sure that every material that has been used there. And we've had cases whereby people buy houses from us and also bring in an engineer to oversee the house on their behalf. So chances whereby you can compromise any of the building cycle are very minimal. At the same time, as a company, you also look on the referral basis. This client that you're mandating yourself to build for them, when it is done right, they will bring in their friends. So it's a matter of doing it right, so that even the lifeline of the business can see the next phase of the construction.
Probably a follow-up on that. Recently, we saw the government impose higher taxes for imported construction materials. Probably how has that played off in the industry?
I think we are currently operating on very tough times. Why I say this is because any policy that is upheld by the government has a negative effect on the consumer end. This consumer end transfer now that cost to the client as well. So at any given point you find there is a hike in prices of some of the materials that are not made here locally but are imported. So whichever supplier, like we've seen prices of steel go up very high. At the same time, like cement right now is very high at the same time. So you are able to, we are not an exemption of that. And again, now we put into consideration some of our culture, our building culture is not incentivized by the government at the same time. So you're left very exposed when it comes to price hike, and that is an experience we are going through. Yes, it is tough, but at the same time it doesn't get tough when you exit. You press on and make it much better, so that in this tough prevailing condition you also learn some of the mitigation factors that you're able to come through for as a company, so that you can reduce the cost of construction, but however not compromising on it. Like for instance, we've embarked on our own production of iron sheets. We have also embarked on our own production of cab rolls and the road caps, all those. We've also embarked on try and save as much as possible, so that at the end of the day you do not end up into losses making company.
All right. So still, regardless of the higher taxes, you're still of the view that it is better for one to seek to come to you for rather than constructing a house on their own.
Yes, like I said in the beginning, with our model of construction, you're able to cushion yourself on so many other factors. Like for instance, a client who paid before price hike cannot be affected by the price hike. A client that is coming after the price hike now pays for all those that did not pay for that price hike until that particular moment. So it is a burden that is shared moving forward, and at the same time cumulatively carried forward to make sure that at any given point the company is able to facilitate the construction cycle to the end.
Thank you. My two questions go to the developers on certain land selling companies who are here. Why is it so hard for these companies to sell what they own? Secondly, another emerging scam is a change of contracts midway. You find that you purchased a house, the initial price was 2.5 million, but the developer comes and tells you now the cost of construction materials have gone up. Now you have to top up another 500,000. If the whole essence of fraud is emerging from companies selling what they don't own, why can they say, I've bought, you can even start with, let's say 2 or 3 acres, say I have 5 acres, this is what I own. The initial owner has transferred the land to me. But the biggest problem, and in the elephant in the room, is most companies, they want to start with the buyer's deposits. You don't have a lot. You want me to pay you so that you can pay the other person, so that the land is not initially yours. I think that's where the scam starts.
I think we can give the gentleman who hasn't said a thing as yet to respond to that.
Thank you, Shirley. First of all, let me say this. At Armod, we sell what is ours. So if it is land, we actually ensure that land is in our name. It's not that which is not bought by us. Most importantly, like my friend Winston Holmes have just explained, you cannot even build and put up a construction on land that is not really yours. So the essence of due diligence, like was earlier explained, becomes critical. And therefore, my advice to the market and to the client is to avoid running into those fraudulent practices. Ensure that due diligence is prioritized. Ensure that you do not become a telephone buyer unless the level of trust is so high. But I am sure there is still some element of trust deficit, and that is why at Almod and a majority of our members in the association continue to emphasize that we are selling that which is legitimately ours. And so the essence of this association is to restore confidence. And that is why we are telling the buyers and the market that in the event you are buying a piece of land, ensure that you are buying from registered members of the association. That will really help you evade the scams, the frauds that possibly come allowed with buying pieces that are not owned by the seller. I think that explains that.
Maybe as an addition, how do you guys who sell houses are able to balance between the profit margin and the quality of the houses you give us?
Very good. I think at Almod, number one, we are not largely profit driven. In this sense, we are solutions provider. So if the element of profit precedes a solution, then you start on a wrong foot. The important thing in every industry and in what we are doing is to offer a solution. You are meeting a certain need, and that should drive every business, so that the aspect of profits are not number one. It's solving a problem. That is why you are in the marketplace, and that is why you are in a certain industry. And then matters profit come below a solution. So I think all of us understand this, and we be driven by the fact that we are offering a solution. If we come from that end and approach the market in that regard, then I think we shall be in the right footing.
Maybe I can add up some. You know, like any other business, Alvin, we will be very lying if we do not admit we also get into losses. Real estate is a business like any other, and at times when your projections are done, sometimes they do, and most of the time they do not materialize. So now it boils down to the reason as to why you came into the business. Because if it was money driven, trust you me, some of us could have crossed doors the first year of operation. But consistency in terms of providing the solution, like my good friend Almod have said, now that keeps you afloat in the business. Yes, there are those that you make losses, and at the same time, yes, there are those that you make profit as well. But at the same time, now going down to why some of the companies are selling what is not rightfully theirs, I think we've come up with an association, the Real Estate Association of Stakeholders, to try and cushion clients out there, in sense whereby previously there have been those cases. But people in the association are already vetted people by the same association, whereby today if any of those that are in the association would go that direction, there are people to reprimand them. and also make sure that clients get what it's rightfully theirs. And our work as an association, and this is a debate that we have each and every meeting that we go, is let us try and sell what is rightfully ours, so that in case there is any of the challenges, you are able to mitigate it in the best approach possible. And at the same time, and make sure that we also increase the credibility of the real estate industry. In most recent days, we've not heard of any unpopular news in the real estate sector. The reason is why, even us ourselves, we are able to audit our own self at the same time and make sure that everything that you're selling out there is something that you can start by it, and also defend it in whichever terms possible to make sure that no investor at any given point loses their money. And like Savia said, due diligence is very critical. You know, the company history again also judges it all. You cannot be in business for 5 years without having done any fraud and start doing fraud when you're midway. I think that is the prime time of the business, whereby by then you ought to have learned so much in the business to make sure that any mistake that can be foreseen, even or unforeseen before you get there, you're able to mitigate it and also put the company back on track to make sure that it delivers as it had promised from the onset.
Yeah, there is a question that you have asked about how the real estate companies will just try to sell properties on the basis of somebody else's title deed. LESA, as we call ourselves, we have come collectively to help each other. They say that iron sharpen an iron. And we are also trying to bail people from their issues of not having money. Like me being a surveyor, we are trying to help other companies. Maybe they have come to the end of their journey, their pockets are empty, and they no longer have money to finance or to bring title deeds for their clients. And we are doing it individually. We are doing it until now. They see that they have given out their titles to those who are purchased, and they are going to pay back again. That has been done by the RESA. We are trying also to advise our clients, our developers, that once we are going to, and you want to buy a property, and maybe the property cost 10 million, we are trying to encourage them to pay half of the amount. When they have paid half of the amount, maybe they can become joint in terms of being joint in the title deeds. That your name also appears on the title deed. That even when somebody is trying to purchase the property, when he does as such, he's going to see the name of Hostep there. And at least they're going to give that client a lot of confidence. The reason why we are here is because this association, and you can bear me witness that we have not had scandals of rate, because we are coming kimaso-maso. Everybody now is watching us, and we are telling them who we are. And if there was anybody who was trying to defraud other clients, for now they cannot do it, because there is an eye or the association that is watching them from all over. And we are even calling those our members. If we heard that one of the members is not actually doing what is expected, we are calling them, and we are in a godly manner, and try to bail them out, asking them what is happening in your company. If it's an issue that you can be able now to bail them out, we are doing it. That's why we have created a good rapport with Akina Almod, Akina Maono. You know, initially we never used to see each other. We used to become enemies. But now we are helping each other to come together so that we can be able to mitigate issues that have been actually been on the forefront of the news. Thank you.
What about maybe you have said that the association is there to ensure there is sanity. What about those who argue that the association is there to cleanse companies which in the past have been known to fraud people?
Even the gospel of Christ, there are still people who does not even listen to what Christ told them to be born again. They still have a space to argue that Christ never resurrected from death. We have resurrected people from death. And we are not at any time going to sanitize people. Even those who are bad, we are calling them, because everybody was bad in his own way. But our agenda is not to send them away. is to bring them closer because they should do business within our vicinity and try to tell them this is how we are going to mold them, be gentlemen, work like other people. And we have saved so many souls. It's like now we are doing the gospel. We have saved so many souls. And people are not even crying. Look at the diaspora. You have not heard about people lamenting. They are actually buying more property. Like in our hostel, I think I've never sold such a bigger number of property the way I'm selling them when Lesa came in. So we are doing it, and we are doing it purposely to bring sanity and to put confidence to everybody with this business.
Probably I could add a bit. On the issue of whether the association is sanitizing certain organizations, I think the association is out to sanitize the market as opposed to sanitizing organizations. How are we doing it? By ensuring that even members of the association are, number one, vetted individuals, so that we carry out a due diligence on the organizations applying to become members, so that we understand whether you are coming into the association with a baggage. Are there issues that are following after you? Are there unresolved matters that you are after you, and you're running into a tent of safety? So if we understand you before even you become admitted, then we make attempts to make sure that whatever could be chasing you as unresolved, as dispute, as conflict, we attend to it jointly. That way, you not find the association sanitizing, but you find the association now giving confidence to the market. And if we did a sanitization, then the organization sanitized then becomes useful again to the market. I think that is better.
I think the whole essence of being here is, how the industry can become more better. And but when you listen to the association, your association, the narrative remains the same. We are doing. Now the big question is, when you tell us you've deregistered 5-10 companies, you don't name these companies, even without mentioning, or forward their names to DCI for investigation. Does this really change the whole matter? Doesn't. Because you're not telling me don't buy from ABCD. I'll continue. This guy will just move up and come back and register a new company. But if you could tell us, we registered 5 companies, we cannot mention them because of the legal aspect and everything, but we have forwarded their names. That really changed because I will buy from them. But when you tell us we registered 10, no names, it's like a narrative or analogy of an alligator telling you the crocodile is sick and believing its story.
Before I give you a chance to respond to that, I think, Mr. Paminas, you could introduce yourself first so that we can carry on. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Paminas Kariuki. I'm the CEO of Metanjema Real Estate, and I'm happy to be here so that we can discuss and deliberate on the issues that are going to be raised by our viewers. Thank you very much for having me. And sorry, my apologies for being late. Thank you.
Before I hand over the microphone, I really wanted to answer that question and the matter of why are we not announcing these people? Why are we not saying that this? Yes, the matter is a legal matter, and that's why we withhold. But that's why we are telling people, continue checking the companies you are going to interact with on our website. Check if they are still members. We encourage people and keep on singing that motto. Check if the members, if the company you want to work with are still members. You will find, even if they came to you, you will find they are no longer members. It's right in our website. So yes, we cannot reveal them because of legal purpose, but that doesn't mean that there are not other ways to actually find out whether they are legit or they are still being vetted. So we encourage clients, come to our website, check whether they are still members. Our members have been vetted, our members have been cleansed, and you can work with them freely without no fear of your money getting, or you being scammed.
Bwana Shuri, I think it's very prudent. We take into consideration that anybody that is in the association is an already vetted and accredited member. So if by any chance the company in question was in the association and you could not find it, I think there is an office in Ruiru whereby clients are still sending some of their concerns, and some are very legit. And because we cannot discuss them here because of the legal implication in the matter, it's also prudent for someone to, after they've checked and they have ascertained the name is not in the company website, to also do the needful. We've said from the beginning, let us not be lazy buyers. So also get into facts, try and unearth why the company was deregistered and at what expense that the company is no longer a member of the association. At that particular point, if someone visits the office, they're able to be given the scenarios that as for you to be registered, you must have done X, Y, Z. And I think those matters are very clear out there. I don't know if you allow me, I want to answer a question that Alvin also asked about whether the government building the affordable houses has an implication factor on us as private developer. We're here to complement each other, and the government cannot do it all for everyone. The last time I checked in the whole plan by the government, it is more targeting on the people, on the civil servant. Let me call them that. On the civil servant. People who are in their payroll, that is why they are deducting that. However, it has also escalated to the private sector. But before we get there, it is a whole system altogether for everyone to be given a house by the government. So before your lifetime comes for the government to give you a house, there is also the private sector solution into the problem. Because we have to admit that in Kenya, as we currently sit, there is no enough housing when it comes to the compared to the population that is there in Kenya. So the government alone cannot do all this, but in collaboration with the private sector, now it also gives some room whereby we're able to achieve more together. And like we always say, even when the government is talking about the Big Five agenda, housing being part of the Big Five, I think the private sector have contributed so largely to that effect to make sure that we also complement effort, and also those people in business who is left for them to construct houses on their behalf. I think now putting into consideration the private sector is there, they're able to also get confidence in and how they can get a home within Nairobi or within the environment that they are working in, provided it is in the within our borders as a country.
On our social pages. I will start with our Association of Real Estate Stakeholders on Facebook. And I see someone called Ryan James says, Gredico Properties Africa, well represented. Thank you very much. Eliza Shiko wa Migoda, listening carefully and learning the process. Thank you. Kaferere Wadisho says, tuned. Alex Ploti, very much tuned. There is also someone else who says, thank you for restoring legitimacy to real estate investors. We are ready and proud to work with you. Thank you very much. I see all of you, and I will keep reading out your comments. So I think, Simon, you had a question.
Yeah,
so
sure.
you can go.
Exactly. Maybe there's someone who is asking, maybe the legal process of buying a property. That is, maybe that one, it can our brother can answer that one.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you very much. So the legal process of buying land is, first of all, as I indicated in the last interview, it's good to do a due diligence before even getting to the legal process. Because due diligence of the title or the search doesn't require a legal process, but it's good to involve your lawyer so that they can verify. And in case there is any hidden problems, they can be able to justify that. So the first thing is do a search of the title. And again, the next thing is also to do a search on the ground. It's good to know what is happening on the ground, get the local authorities explain to you the history of the land, because again, you don't want to buy land that is going not to have a clear history about it. But besides that, it's good, once you start you're confident about the search and the due diligence process, it's good to get an offer letter from the person selling to you a land. So this can vary. Some people just give their sale agreement, but again, it's good to have an offer letter so that you accept the offer before even getting a sale agreement. Reason why I say this is because a sale agreement is a binding document, and it only gets to come from the office of the lawyer after the payment of a deposit has been done. It's a legal binding document which not only guarantees you of ownership of that land within the process before the title is processed, but even after you have gotten the title deed, a sale agreement remain to be a legal document in case of a dispute in the future. Once that is done, you have a sale agreement which is already existing. You proceed now to continue with the payments. If there's an installment plan, if it's a cash plan, again, you are able to have the agreement until you provide the final documents. The final documents include getting a copy of your ID on both sides, again, not on the one side. And then you also have to have the copy of a KRA PIN and the copy of a passport photo for the client who is buying. This is to help identify whether the person who is really indicating that the owners of the plots to buy are the same from the ID, from the passport photo, and also whether their KRA PIN matches what is theirs. So once this is done, then the developer or the client, actually you have two options. You can process the title for yourself, but in most cases, we the developers tend to process the titles for you to avoid the hassle of going and doing the whole process. It's an after-sales service. Once the title is done, it's good for you once the title has been processed. And this is something I think I can pause and say. The process of transfer of land, the first step is getting a consent from the seller to the buyer, that the seller is willing to sell this land to the buyer. Once the consent is done through what we call the land consent boards, which meets once a month in most counties, if not all, then after the consent, now you can proceed to start the transfer process. But how is the transfer process going to be done? The first step is evaluation. The property is valued, and after the government valuer has given the valuation, you need to pay stamp duty. Stamp duty is the minimum tax that you pay. You know, people say the real estate people don't pay taxes. That is the tax we pay to show that you are indeed buying that property. Once the stamp duty is paid, if there are capital gains taxes to be paid, also they are paid at that stage. Because again, the property cannot be transferred to you before all the taxes are cleared with the government. Once the stamp duty has been paid, it is taken to the registry, and from the registrar, now the title is processed. Remember, the title comes from a document called a green card. So if there is a green card which is already existing, sometimes you don't even have the title in its paper, because the green card is actually the title deed. So they can get from the green card and directly transfer to you. Others maybe have already transferred the titles to the form of a paper. They now give you that paper. It is taken to the registry where they retract the green card and changes now to the new user. From that, then you can have a title deed. But besides having the title deed in your name, it's good to also do a search to ascertain that the real name on the title is also the name that is coming out of the search. I think that is a simple transfer process or legal process of owning a land. I want to put this, the guideline by the Royal Society of Kenya, land transaction process is recommended. Remember, it's not a must. It's recommended to be 90 days. Sometimes you can get the title within 2 weeks, you can get the title within 1 month, but the recommended time is 90 days. Should there be a delay, it's good for the company or the individual who is selling the land to communicate to the customers to ensure there's a fluent communication. I think I have demystified it in the simplest way possible. Thank you.
Maybe another question before I give another chance to my colleagues. When it comes to pricing of projects, as the association, because we see like other companies, they go extra mile of exaggerating prices or going hiking the prices, depending also to the value of the property where the area is. That is, as the association, what is the take of maybe just controlling the pricing of the property that is?
As I give the mic to my colleagues, I'll start by saying first, it's good to know that we're in an open market. Whichever prices can be decided by anyone. But I encourage people to use professionals. We have valuers who are certified in this country. People who can be able to assess for you the property value and give you the true value of the property. A good example, if you want to buy land through or house through the banks, they have to send their own valuer to ascertain the value. So even in the same way, if you feel that the prices have been overrated, send a valuer to the ground, let them give you a report, so that by the time you are buying, you already know this is what my professional has recommended to me. And again, you not say I was overcharged. Maybe you are even undercharged. Are you going to add more money to the person who is selling to you? Again, it's good to ascertain the value so that you know whether you are overcharged or undercharged, because any case can be possible. Yeah.
Now,
Maybe somebody else can.
maybe just to clarify on that.
Yes.
As the association,
Yes.
how do you come in to control the price, or you have just left it to the members to?
As I said, in an open market, you cannot control the price. You can only recommend to the members to always be fair to their customers. Because you cannot tell somebody, this is a free market. Somebody will come with a lot of money and say, I want to buy this land because I want it now and now. A good example, maybe you are selling a land at 400,000. Then a customer says, you say, these plots I'm not going to sell, I'm reserving them for a future price. Then somebody is interested in those specific plots. They come and tell you, I'll give you 600. As a company, are you going to refuse that money? The question is, have they been overcharged or are they overcharged themselves? So that's why I said it's good to verify before you just indicate. There are so many factors that determine the price of properties in Kenya. Some could be even, some people know there's a bypass coming. And they say, you know what, because I know there's a bypass coming, you must sell to me this land. And others come and say, I want these specific plots. So I remember there are plots we sell at a higher price because somebody has insisted. And you tell them, this one I can only sell to you because you're also keeping them for speculation of the future pricing. So if one is willing to get it at the future price, then let them do. So we cannot control, we can only recommend. And this we have done, not that we have not done. We have told our members to be fair. Some places we sell our land, we must also be fair at the prices we give. Let's not do something that you cannot buy. The question I ask myself before I buy any property or sell any property, can I buy it at the price I'm selling? If I cannot do, then I'm not doing justice to my customers. Thank you.
Yes, also in construction, it is indeed an open market. Again, there are several factors that also now favor us when it comes to pricing. Remember, location, where the project is very critical. You know, us who are building is a totally different scenario, whereby you look on several things. Proximity to some of the amenities that could be around. And again, the accessibility of that particular place. You know, what is really affecting us is also now also on the clients now who are the RAD owners selling their properties. Everybody selling is an emotional process. So you have to synchronize with them emotionally for you to strike a deal. So you might have provoked them to sell the RAD to you when they needed not to sell the RAD. So again, they will end up giving you a price that maybe by all means it is could not be the market price. But at the same time, negotiation again brings the deal home. And at the same time, when now the deal is home, when you're doing construction, you also put all those factors into consideration and float it there. Remember, we're also selling these particular properties to people who are enlightened. A client will tell you when something is exaggerated and when something is fair enough in the market, because with all the wisdom and the knowledge of the market, because when someone, like for instance, when someone is coming to buy a house from us, trust you me, they have seen multiples of other projects before they settle down on your particular one. So they also would have done the due diligence just to ascertain whether the pricing is right or is exaggerated. And if you've exaggerated your pricing, then you will end up forever with your houses without a buyer at hand at that particular point.
In that regard, I'll go back to the affordable housing question. And you rightly mentioned that the government is targeting civil servants, and most of these projects are happening in the urban settings. Does that mean, like you said, you're offering solutions and you're not being led by the profit that you're going to make from the projects that you're having? Does that mean that there is no demand for housing in the rural settings, or the only demand that is there for houses is only in the urban setting?
Thank you. It's a good question. let me say this. In the urban centers, the aspect of rural-urban migration is a factor that also is driving probably what is mostly seen as housing projects happening around urban centers. And that does not mean that there is no need or demand for housing elsewhere. In fact, from statistics, this country requires about 250,000 units of houses every year, while the supply is at under 60,000 units every year. So you have a cumulative deficit. And that is to say, those statistics have not been taken around urban centers alone. It's a national consideration. And therefore, only that in the urban centers, the aspect of rural-urban migration may seem to hype what is happening around, but that does not eliminate the need for houses elsewhere. The other thing on affordability, it's important for all of us to know that the term affordability is very relative. What is affordable to Shuri in Luda is not affordable to Washira in Huruma. And so he will be saying, wherever he is making preference and choice of is because of his capacity financially to acquire that particular unit of house. And the individual elsewhere, it is about the financial capacity. So, and it varies. Now, what government is doing, besides targeting the civil service, they are also looking at the majority of its own population. And the majority of the population is at the middle and bottom of the pyramid. And so that is why the issue of probably affordable housing as a program of government, couple working in conjunction with the private sector, is directed, and the resources are directed towards that, solving a mass issue where a majority of people are affected. Yeah.
I see the heavens have opened up, but before we wind up, I think I'd give Mr.
Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Mufuri Geshoke from Top Care Lands Limited. I'm here to support the lesser agenda of providing people with genuine plots, and I support this program of LESA. And as you can see, we have other members, and I'm very happy to be in this forum. And many people have asked me, is Top Care in this group? Yes, Top Care is in this group, and we have been in this group since its inception, and up to date, we are continuing with it. And as my fellow comrades have said, and they are supporting genuine plots, genuine houses, genuine real estate business. We are here to support that. And if someone is not in LESA, we wonder where he is. We wonder where he is. So it's always good to look. We have people who have houses here. For me, I don't sell houses. I sell plots. But we also support those who have construction, those who are building houses, because that is the agenda. And I'm very happy. I can see it starting raining. Yeah. So. Okay, and I would like to take this, I brought my greetings from my comrades. We have Mr. Amos Karuri as our MD, and we have James Masharia as our CEO. They have sent me to bring you all the comrades greetings and all to our listeners, and we continue supporting this agenda. Yes.
Thank you very much. This is simple. Nowadays, with devolution, we are changing that there's nothing like rural areas. when you see the president going around the country, he's no longer now launching houses only in Nairobi. Initially, you were all fighting to develop in Nairobi. Now you can do it in partnership with your county, local counties, and get to do some development. So again, demystifying this issue of affordable housing is not rural to urban areas. Rural areas can be urbanized by the current by what you do on those land. So my parting shot, because I guess now it's raining, I need to to make sure I give my parting shot. That is what my English Kikuyu teacher said to me, because again they were teaching us in English, and they said that is unity is strength, and I believe when we come together we can be able to do great things. The biggest challenge we have had in our country, and especially our industry, everybody was on their own, and that is why we were being beaten by one fist. So now we are together, and I think since the time RESA was started, it has been so peaceful in the industry. And for those who are asking whether we can announce those we have denounced or deregistered, we cannot do that because it's not right for our law. But you can check on the website, as my colleague said. If one is not there, ask them, where are you and why are you not there? Again, in consultation with the office, as we said, the office will give you the reason why the person is not a member. If they have not paid the registration fee is just a standard fee that everybody in any association needs to pay. Yeah, so if you are not willing to pay, then it means you are also willing not to be part of the success of the association. Hey, the rains are coming.
Thank you, members, for attending this unique platform. Mine is to say that to the government, let us support this program, let us support association. It is here to complement. You cannot do it alone. You have to have somebody sideways to help you to do so. And we are ready to do so, to work with you, and to abide by the policies and all that is regulated in this sector. Hostep Holdings is a large company, as a genuine company, that is now in Lesa, doing a lot of work and try to make sure that everybody who needs the services of a surveyor, we are going to chip in and help where it is necessary. Those who have not given up to this association, we are calling upon you to come. Now we have opened all the doors. And the main reason why we are here is not to send you away, is to bring you closer to us. Hata shetani mwenyewe alivurushwa huko mbinguni kwa sababu ya makosa yake. Lakini nyinyi ambao umefanya makosa kidogo kidogo, karibuni tufanye kazi ya Mungu, kwa sababu this is why we are here and we are moving forward, backwards never. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That is where we are going to wind up. The heavens have opened up. We are definitely going to have a similar sessions, but just to give a brief shout out to all of those who have been with us. Hotstep Limited, Almond Estate, Wilston, there is Risi, there is Nyotanjema, there is Top Care, and all of those who are online. I see Vasco Real Estate, I see Dagma, I see Alsa Land Limited. So to all of you, thank you very much. We are definitely going to do this again, and we are going to tell you the date and the time. So thank you. I was your moderator, Wangoi Dirango. Have a good night, and thank you for having time to be with us.
That in Kenya today, our companies are too small. Since in the petite, we are too small. What can we do to enlarge our companies? I checked, which is the biggest company in the real estate around the world, and I was shocked to see the size. This company is called China Evergrande Group. This company, the assets alone, they have $367 billion worth of assets. Na yuko tu hapa Roiro. Unasema mimi ni CEO Roiro. We are saying enough is enough for Roiro. We need to be bigger, to grow bigger, provide job opportunities.
Good news, good news. Association of Real Estate Stakeholders neo RESA riu nirehete kihonia thiini wa thogora ya migunda ni undu wa kugita turia nime na riu ni marugoretie mutambo wa website niguo www.realtorsolutions.org na no utume short code kuri 23878 wandike kambuni iria urenda kumenya kana iri thiini wa association macerere Royal Spa Mall second floor S37 thimone 0742 232323 Association of Real Estate Stakeholders, restoring confidence in investment.